Callie, I feel like you would appreciate this. All my crystals lined up.
I'm so proud of you.
I have an exam after this.
Oh my gosh.
I know, I'm taking classes online.
What?
Okay, yeah. Colleen, how are you? I haven't seen you in so long.
I'm doing well. All right, well, hello everyone who's tuning in. My name's Colleen Hooper and I'm an assistant professor in the dance department. And I'm joined by a wonderful group of alumni today. We have Callie, Hocter, Paige, Devitt, and Emmy Beswachenko, all former students of mine. So I'm really looking forward to talking with you all today. So we're going to start by welcoming the dance department students and other viewers who are tuning in. And I would love for you to each talk a little bit about your career, like tell us about yourself, your career journey. And then following the introductions, we'll invite our viewers to ask our alumni questions. So if we want to just go Callie and then Paige and then Em, that would be perfect.
All right, so sorry, somebody is knocking, so I'm gonna ignore that, but so sorry. I guess the virtual experience. But I graduated from Point Park in 2018, and ever since then, I have been with Koresh Dance Company as well as Paige. So we've been rehearsing together for 3 years with Roni, and we've been traveling all over before pre-pandemic. We got to go to Arizona and Mexico and really experience parts of the world that I've never gotten to experience. So that's what I'm up to. 3 years with Koresh, going on number 4 and plus more. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you, Callie.
My story is basically the same. Me and Callie joined Koresh the same exact time. And we also live together. So we've really experienced literally everything together. And yeah, same thing. We've traveled all over the place, worked with a lot of different dancers too. And yeah, we've been in rehearsals. We started in fall back, and then we've been rehearsing back 3 days a week in this winter period time. So yeah, we're really blessed to be still rehearsing. But yeah, same thing as Callie, just dancing with Koresh and with Roni. Yeah.
Nice. I'm Emmy Beswachenko. I also graduated with Paige and Callie in 2018. I actually lived with Paige in college. Roommates.
Full circle.
And actually, I moved to Paige's hometown in Michigan. So I now live in Detroit, Michigan, and I dance professionally with Eisenhower Dance Detroit. And we're a rep company. We rehearse every single day, 5 days a week, ballet or contemporary. So it was really great. Even in COVID, we still did virtual ballet, which is a struggle, as everyone knows, with the chair and the wobbliness. But so we're back in the studio right now. We've been back since, I want to say, since like November, October, November-ish. And so we're doing more virtual stuff, trying to do what we can during this pandemic and this time. But yeah, a lot more virtual video is about to come out, and we're just trying to do what we can until we can tour again and perform. And yeah.
Great, thank you all. Well, it's wonderful to see you, and it's great to kind of see how everyone has gone off on their paths since I saw you all last in 2018. I know that with our current students, there's a lot of uncertainty with the year of the pandemic that we've just had. So maybe it would be interesting, kind of while we're waiting to get questions from the audience, like if for you to all talk about your transition from school into professional life, and then maybe also to comment a little bit on like what you've learned this past year, like kind of something that you've taken away from, you know, being a dancer during the pandemic.
Can I go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. I think something that was hard for me, especially coming from college to professional work, was that doing different styles and different rep coming at you and thrown at you and expected to change quickly. So I think we do that a lot at Point Park, but I think we get into such a flow of how we want to dance. And when you are in the professional field, it's kind of, you're given this and you're expected to do it. So I think adjusting to that was a little difficult for me, and not just dancing in one style and enjoying one style, but really diversifying yourself as an artist. Especially as when I first joined Eisenhower, I was an apprentice. So really for that first year was, how hard can I work? How can I prove myself? How can you show yourself? So I think that was something that was really something that I learned that really helped me in my professional life years on after that.
Yeah, ours was kind of almost the opposite, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
We got into the company, we found out over in the summer around, and we had to replace 2 dancers. So we had to learn all of this rep and all these specific places and like exact like tracks of the pieces, which was very different and challenging because you had to soak up so much choreography and so much time, and then be ready to be on stage for your first professional performance ever, which was really intimidating. But also we had to really hone in on Koresh's style, and we had to really make sure that we were doing that style justice, because he comes from Israel and he has a lot of different influences from folk dancing and jazz and modern. And like, yes, we had all this training at Point Park, which was amazing, but then we had to hone in all of that into one specific style, which was different, but also really awesome. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I think that was the biggest struggle and learning experience, is really honing in on that one specific style, which I'm sure Callie can talk more about.
Yeah, Paige is completely right. I think when we left school, I know Point Park really prepared us to go into this. So we were ready for anything, but I think it's true that the biggest adjustment for us was being able to really hone in on Roni's style and just completely dive into it, because he's so specific about what he does. And so having to adjust yourself kind of every day to mold that was hard. And it did take a little bit of time. But once you have it, it feels really good. Then again, when we went in, we were replacing people. One of them was Vanessa, who also went to Point Park. So when we came in, we had to learn this whole show within, I think we went on tour the first time, Paige, in October. And we had a show in October. So we started in September. We had to learn a whole show in September to perform in October. So learning Roni's way of movement, learning somebody else's track, learning a whole show, and being able to perform it like a month later, on top of learning new rep, because whenever we start a new year with Roni, as soon as we start, he's like ready to choreograph for the next show that's going to premiere in the spring. So we were kind of doing like double duty. We had like so many different pieces in our head, which I think is where Point Park really does prepare you, is the mental capacity of really having all of that and delivering it. And as far as the pandemic goes, I think what I learned most is that I think rest is really important. I think that was one of my biggest takeaways. I like go. Like I love grinding and working really hard. But when I got a moment to take a step back, I really found a new appreciation and love for what my body can do and what I can do as an occupation. And not that I didn't appreciate that before, but I think when something's taken away, you're like, oh, you know, it's not like distance makes the heart grow fonder, I guess, is what I really experienced. And now that we're back in rehearsals, just trying to learn how to rest when my body needs it and not continue to push just because I think sometimes for me personally, I dance better when I do get that rest and I do give my body that rest. So yeah.
Going off of that, something that I really learned with the pandemic, the same thing that you were saying, makes the heart grow fonder, you never know when your last time is your last time. So we had our last show, well, with the pandemic, but our most recent show, the last time I hit stage was February 15th. So it's been a whole year since we've even touched a stage with a live audience and everything. So I think you never really realize that that would be my last show for a whole year. And so I think really appreciating and not taking it for granted and really appreciating every single aspect of it, because you seriously don't know when the last time will be the last time for a while. So also I try to take that in every day with class. Like, I am so thankful to be in class and to be taking ballet, to be moving, to be with my company. So I think any second I get down on myself or upset or tired, I just have to remind myself I am grateful for where I am and that I am doing what I'm doing, because so many people are not. So I think just that constant reminder of that motivation.
Yeah, I think for me, when you start dancing professionally and it becomes, you're no longer in this cocoon of college or a studio, I feel like it became a job for me. And that was a different mentality of how I viewed dance, and my relationship with dance completely changed, and not for the better or for the worse, but the pandemic made me realize that I need to remember why I love to dance, like why I started this, why I trained so hard, and why I busted my butt. These two know how hard we worked senior year to like, and probably did too much to like audition and everything. But like, I just realized that I needed to take a step back and remember why I love to dance and why it makes me so happy, and that it doesn't have to be so serious all the time. Like, it's fun. Like, I'm so grateful that I can literally do this as a job. Like, I get to dance for a career, which is just insane to me. But yeah, I think it's just remembering that you love it and you do it for a passion, and it's not just a job, and there's more to it. And I think the pandemic really taught me that, and now I view dance in a different way again, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. Going off of that too, how you said that, like, now that your professional life, it is your job, so you look at it differently. I think that also has a impact on performing, because I feel like at Point Park, it was everything is for this one show, and if I mess up in this one show, it's like the end be all. But I think because it is our job now, and it's not just our passion, it's for you're artistically revolving and changing each show. So especially with tour, you are doing the same show over and over and over again. So it's not just how can I perfect that one step this one time I perform it, but really changing your mindset of how can I re-inspire myself for the next show, and what am I gonna, you have just so many more chances because it is your job. So I think more thoughts of creativity of like how to re-inspire, I'm going to work on this show, I'm going to notice this person in this show or something like that. So really finding those
performance wise too.
Yeah. So I think it is way more, there's more room for development in the professional field, I think, to grow as an artist rather than just the one and be all. So I think we were so hard on ourselves in college because we had one show, our parents were in the audience, and it was just like scary. It was so scary. But I think it's a lot calmer now that you have that position and you get more chances to do it.
Yeah, and it's like a very, I think it's a really magical experience when you can, I don't want to say perfect, because nothing will ever be perfect, but when you have time to really like digest choreography and really like get it into your body. Like, I think I experienced that at Point Park a couple of times, but maybe not to the capacity, because Emmy, like you said, we did it once or twice, Now on tour, you have this whole show, and I've never felt choreography really like sit in my body the way it has now. And it really is a different and super magical feeling. Like, it really just feels like it is you. You don't like, not that you feel like, I don't want to say like an imposter, but like, I really feel like this choreography is me, and I am giving the audience me, because you have time to really digest it and nurture it in a way.
I feel like you can really let go.
Yeah. I think also with that joining, I don't know how you guys felt, but joining a company we just had a lot of turnover with the older company members. So, but when I entered, the older company members were like 8 years, 9 years, 10 years in. So to join and have that inspiration and that watching them be so invested and watching them be so nurtured of the choreography for pieces that they've been doing for years. And I'm hopping in and like, it's been 2 weeks and I'm trying to do what you're doing. So I think that was also very, very inspiring and helps nurture you into the piece. So I think that, I mean, we don't get that as much at Point Park because everyone is learning it at the same time. So I think that was something that was hard to adjust to, especially performing. I think you go on stage and are so thinking about the counts and thinking about the material and trying to be invested, but to the people that have been there for 10 years, it just is second nature. So I think as you grow with the company, it gets more and more in your body.
Yeah, something I was talking to some of my students about recently was longevity, because especially as a young dancer, you know, freshman, sophomore year at Point Park, you know, you're expected to bring 1,000% to every class. And you end up having injuries at points or pushing your body too hard. And, you know, Callie, you already talked about rest. But I guess as professional dancers, like, are there some things that you wish you had known in terms of how to take care of your body and pace yourself, like when you were a student, like things that you've learned now that you could like impart that wisdom to other dancers? Because I feel like everyone has like little secrets of life, right? Like we all have these kind of amazing things that we figure out about life along the way that makes it better. So I'm just wondering if you all could share some of those.
Yeah, I think listening to your body is the most important thing ever. I don't think I did that in college. I was just like, how much can I do? How many classes can I take? Like, I have to meet all these friends and like was just so overwhelmed by that. And now with Koresh, it's like if something hurts, like I take the time to rest. I take the time to roll out. I take the time to stretch. I really, or even just mentally, like I'm just gonna lay on the couch all night and do nothing. Like I think that's really important because unfortunately I feel like the older you get, you just can't do what you did in college. Like it just doesn't work like that anymore. And which is totally fine. But yeah, I feel like honestly what Callie said, just like resting is so important. I get sick less. I am injured less. I really just think listening to your body and taking that time. I don't think it's rocket science. There's nothing really more to it. But yeah, just taking the time for yourself and mental health too, for your brain too, 100%.
Yeah, yes, mental health I think is super, super important. And I think it's different for everybody, like what you do to kind of take care of your mental health. I know for me, like sometimes after I get home, I need to just go to my room and I just need to be by myself. And I know that's probably pretty hard at school because you're sharing a dorm or you have like a ton of roommates. And I know when you're at school and it's Friday night, everybody wants to go have fun. But I think if your mental health isn't there, you have to take care of that first. And I think also a part of rest, a part of mental health, I think you really need to be fueling your body and just making that like a top priority. And I know that we always we know that, but I think even for myself, like I was like, oh, I'm good. But I don't know how to describe it. I just think that you need to make sure that you're prepared for your day with the food and the nourishment that you need as a dancer. Like treat yourself as a professional dancer, because at Point Park, you really are doing the schedule of a professional dancer and you need to feed yourself like a professional dancer. And if your body is nourished, your mind will be a little bit more nourished. You won't maybe have as many injuries or feel as exhausted. So I think if you couple like nourishment and mental health, taking care of that, and also rest, you will be able to prolong yourself and your dancing career. It's not just about the physical aspect of dance. It's so much more than that, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think going off of that too, although rest is great, I think cross training was the thing that saved my body the most. So I'm like the #1 fan of Pilates because I'm certified, but like I kid you not, it saved every injury that I've had so far. So really taking, like we all know, like you should be strengthening your rotators or something like that, but it is so important to do it before class. So taking the time to come to class 10 minutes early. And I really wish I did that in college because I stepped right in AKLA at 8 a.m. and just tried to do it. And as you get older, it really takes a toll on you. So really, really, really reminding yourself to do the exercises that your PT gives you or something like that to really rehab those muscles and warm up those muscles for activation so that you are using the correct muscles and not becoming injured. And although you want to rest, I think on my off days, like when we have off on break, I have to remind myself to keep cross training. Even if I'm not taking class, I'm still trying to do the exercises that strengthen me so that I don't come back after a break and just are back at day one of where I'm at. So I think that's the most important thing that I've learned.
Yeah, I think another important thing too to remember is that when you become professional, I mean, of course, all of us just want to dance and perform, but you have to remember that most likely you're going to have to do something else. Like we teach a lot, and all three of us do. We teach a lot, and that's not the case for everybody, but you're most likely going to have to go to rehearsal or whatever, a gig or whatever you're doing, and then go work another job. So that's really important to find that balance and find when can I nourish my body, when can I rest. It's like I almost have to plan that out. I can't just like wing my schedule anymore. I wish I did that all college. Can't really do that anymore. Doesn't really work out anymore. So yeah, that's something you have to think about because that's another important aspect of our lives, and you really have to learn how to balance it and again take care of your body because it is a lot on your mind and body, teaching and rehearsing and doing all that. So that's just another thing.
I think a big thing too with loading everything on top, knowing when there is a time that you need to lessen or a time that you need to step back from something is major, because I feel like in college we had the go, go, go mentality and would be up for anything and take 5 classes a day, no big deal. But if you do have an injury or if you do have a pain, like speak up about it because it will only get worse from there. Or if you are working 4 jobs and it's becoming too much and you don't have time to rest, really taking that time for yourself because that is the most important thing that you can do to your body. So
it's okay to say no sometimes too. That's really okay.
That's something that I'm learning this year. I started teaching, like I teach 4 nights a week, and then I'm like cross training with bar, and I started teaching bar and, you know, trying to stack all these things on. And recently I was like, I really don't think that this is going to be healthy for me. And although it's really hard to say no to this like opportunity, because I think at school we are told to say yes to everything. Say yes, say yes, say yes. Yes, but also really evaluate yourself in your current mental state, your current physical state, like everybody is saying, because I almost got myself recently into a debacle where I was going to be spread too thin, and I just had to really sit down and be like, Callie, can you actually handle this? Are you going to be mentally strong? Are you going to be physically strong? Are you going to be happy doing all of these things? Okay, no, it's okay to say no. It's going to be better for you in the long run, for sure.
I also, with that, it's okay to say no. And I think don't think about the money. Don't say yes because some job is doing this for you. So I think taking yourself and your own mental needs above financial
money.
I think is a big, because I feel like as dancers we're like, we need money, what can we do, what job can we pick up, but actually taking time for being like, will I enjoy this job, will I enjoy this, rather than just saying yes to any job that comes your way.
Yeah, I really learned that this year. Even if you have an opportunity that you get more money and you think it might be best for you, really evaluate that, because I personally, in my experience, whenever, and this is teaching wise, the opportunities where I get paid less and the people are more caring and compassionate is way more worth going with getting paid more and maybe not getting treated as well. Like compassion over anything. And being genuine. Yeah, those are the things you need to look out for, because that's what's really going to hinder you if you don't evaluate it, if that makes sense. So yeah, really, yeah.
I think that's great. And just to think about how that gives you energy too, to be around people like that that inspire you. We have a question from the audience.
Yay.
Anna says, what class at Point Park impacted you the most?
Ooh.
It was dance history. I know. No.
Colleen, we did love dance history.
I loved it.
I will say,
I don't know.
Okay, I will. Oh, there's so many. This is really hard to choose because you know that all of the teachers at Point Park are just phenomenal. I really think I'm going to have to go with Jason's class. I had him twice senior year. I didn't have him at all my whole entire Point Park career, and then I got him twice senior year, and that was, I think I really started to understand myself and my body more. And also Keisha's class was always something that really ignited something in me. So I'll say those are my two.
I'm gonna have to say I have two also. I'm gonna say Jason's. I think he changed how I thought about dance, how I thought about my body, how to engage my core. 100%. Like he's the one who taught me how to do that, how to stand parallel. But he's just inspired me so much, and I still think about it every day in rehearsal. Now that I'm a teacher, I think about everything that he's talked about, and just honestly how the way he made me feel in class. I think that's the most important thing. I got so much from him. And then I would have to say contact improv with Pearl. That class was just amazing. I loved it. It really helped partnering, because in companies you are going to partner a lot. And I think that just gave me a new understanding of connecting with people on like a whole nother level. And it was just amazing. And I also think about that class a lot. So yeah.
I'm going to hop on the bandwagon and also say Jason's, because that just changed my whole knowledge of my pelvis and my core and my anatomically the correct position that I should be. And I don't know how I danced like that before that at all. But his class just really changed my mentality of not perfectionism, but like the motivation to strive to do it right for my own self and not really dance for anyone else but myself, and making sure that I am doing things correct for me. And I will also say Garfield Modern made me realize a form of repetition over and over, and keeping that diligence, I think, is what I learned.
Yeah.
Nice. I also enjoy what you're saying, because I feel like there's a theme about the way someone makes you feel, like where you're working or in the classroom, like Paige said, like how Jason made me feel. And then now you're imparting that to other students. So I feel like that's something that, I don't know, I'm seeing as a theme, which is really amazing to think about. Because emotion's obviously a huge part of dance, but sometimes we don't talk about it as much.
It's all emotions.
We have another question from the audience, which is from Amy. She says, I have seen Koresh in Baltimore and Eisenhower at Jacob's Pillow. I love you all. I'm wondering how it is different dancing in Philly and Detroit versus New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles.
I think the crowd is definitely different. I mean, Eisenhower's, we rehearse in the suburbs, so we get a lot of families and a lot of more of a older crowd a lot of the time for our shows. I mean, we go all over, but we have a lot of shows in the suburbs and then a few downtown Detroit. But I think it's definitely different from New York and Chicago or LA just because it is more homey. You get a lot of more friends and family that you know around. So it's kind of just a different feel, even when you perform. So you know who's in the audience, you know who's watching you, you have a family connection with them. So I think that really changes it rather than being on tour. Just knowing your crowd is a little different.
I think, Paige, you can chime in too. I think for us in Philly, I like the path that I've been on so far in life, where I was in Pittsburgh, it's a small city. And then now Philly's like a little bit bigger, but it's not as big as New York. So we kind of get that like happy medium between the two, which is really nice. And then I think what's different, at least what I know about in New York with a lot of different companies, we have our own space in Rittenhouse Square at Koresh, where everybody can come take classes, open classes, whatever, but we have the same rehearsal space every single day. We have we use the same theater every spring. So we have it's almost like we have our own I don't want to say like territory because that seems like possessive, but it's just
home base, I would say.
There's
a lot of the same. There's very loyal Koresh Philly fans, I guess. I want to say so but then tour is completely different. Like we don't know anybody usually in the audience like at all, so that's like a whole nother different aspect of performing. I really like it because you don't know anybody and you're just really dancing for yourself, not for anybody else. So it's a lot different.
Great.
Okay.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
Hi,
Sorry.
Kevin. I'm Colleen. I'm the
Hi,
moderator. Do you wanna introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about your background, and we'll have you jump in. It's so great to meet you and to have you on here.
Yeah, so sorry for being late and all the scheduling mishaps. Hi, everyone. My name is Kevin Pajariaga. I am a Filipino American from Washington, D.C., currently living in New York City, dancing for Gibney Company, which is why I'm a little late. I'm 27. I have a nonprofit in Dallas. I am what we call an artistic associate at Gibney. I went to Point Park from 2012 to 2016. Met these lovely people there. Hello, everyone. That's pretty much it.
Well, we had a question, Kevin, about dancing in the different cities, because Emmy is in Detroit and Callie and Paige are in Philadelphia. So if you wanted to chime in a little bit about your experience dancing in New York City, like what is that like? And you also said you have, I don't know if you danced in Dallas or you just are part of the community there, like just from city to city, because our audience really wants to know these different feelings of these different places and what it's like to dance there.
Yeah, of course. I think this question comes at a weird time with the pandemic happening, and there's kind of lockdowns in different cities, and each city has a different capacity of what kind of art it has and what kind of capacity people can move around in during the pandemic. New York is it's weird, everyone is still following the pandemic rules. There's indoor dining happening, but there's a lot of, for example, Gibney Company, we're dancing a lot. We're taking class every day. We have to take a test every 2 weeks. And my roommate also is in a company and he has to take a test every 2 weeks. There's a lot of online classes still happening. That's kind of where the most of the dance community in New York is heading right now. It's like a lot of digital classes and maybe little studio rentals where people will host the class there, 5 or 6 people. and such. In Portland, I danced in Portland for Northwest. Cool dancing there. There's something called Open Space. My friend Franco Nieto just started it. It's really beautiful, so diverse, really progressive. Dallas was cool. I did dance there for a company there. Dallas is very modern, from at least my point of view. If I'm speaking from the eye, it's very modern. It's very, Horton-based, Limon-based, LAR, all that, the modern, the colors that come from modern. New York is very well-rounded. New York is awesome. I love it here. So many people here, big community, a lot of people. Zoom is also just awesome. You can take class from anyone. So yeah.
Thank you. Great. All right. Well, we have another question from the audience from Skylar. And she would like to know about your favorite memory from Point Park. Also note this is being recorded and it will be available to other people after the session on YouTube. So proceed as you wish.
Proceed with caution.
That's so hard.
Okay, if I had to pick one, I'll say being able to, the opportunity to go and perform at the Joyce. My senior year with Keisha, we did her piece Connects at the faculty show, and then we got to perform that at the Joyce, a part of NYCDA's, I think it was the Rising Stars Gala. I could have that name very wrong, but it was a part of that. And that was just a really cool experience that the school let us all get on a megabus together and go perform together on such an iconic stage while being at school. I don't know, that was one of my top experiences for sure.
I'm gonna be real cheesy and just say, because there's too many big moments and experiences, but I think like looking back now, just being able to dance with my best friends and like the people that truly mean the most to me in the entire world, who I think about every single day now, just dancing with them and feeling that energy at Point Park. And I feel like you don't get that experience in many other places. And yeah, I just always think about classes and being with just such inspiring people who want the same goal as you. And it just, yeah, I think I can't pick one specific moment, but just being with each other in the community, I think is just amazing.
Okay, this one's also pretty cheesy, but sophomore year, my birthday was on the Byam show. And I don't know why this is like such a great fond memory, but before the show, my best friend Cassie brought me a cake on stage and everyone in the show sang to me on stage at the Byam. And I think that was just a overall like great memory to have, just looking at the stage and looking at where I'm about to perform on my birthday with all of my best friends doing what I love is just a great, overwhelming memory.
And little fireworks, weren't there? Like,
oh, yeah, the fireworks! It was a baseball game. I forgot about that. And my parents came. It was just a great day.
There are always fireworks in Pittsburgh. It's something you can count on in the summer. That's beautiful.
I would have to agree with Paige. Because Point Park is so kind of removed from a lot of big Mecca dance areas, there was no, our community was our community, our dance community was our dance community. So just, yeah, being in that community, being surrounded by people that you love and being surrounded by people that love you and that are also pushing and leading by example, just like the day-to-day kind of showing up. I love a good Garfield Lemonius Horton class. Those classes were amazing. Everybody was fired up. Yeah, it was just that kind of like high vibration energy when you would get into a space of artistic growth and everybody was like holding each other and supporting each other and like kind of pushing each other in a very fun, elevating, challenging kind of way.
I got another. Can I have two? We had Gaga our senior year,
Oh
I
my
don't
God, I
know.
forgot about that class.
That class was
That's my
amazing.
favorite class.
That class was
Okay,
amazing. I also will say that was one of the best classes at Point Park. And we would do Gaga majority of the days, but some days then we would do like choreography or just like the weirdest stuff that it was so fun to really let your creativity flow. And I feel like we don't really get that in a lot of the classes because they are so technical, but this one was really just, and our senior class was so tight. So one class in Gaga, she played, I don't even, Bad Romance by Lady Gaga or something like that. It was some Lady Gaga.
No, it was Rihanna. Stay.
Okay, it was Rihanna Stay.
Come on, Paige, with the receipts.
Morphed together and hugged and like swayed for maybe the whole song. And like at the end of the class, we were all in tears because we loved each other so much and just had that moment shared with each other. And that was just A+. Great memory.
That was Marie's class, right? Marie,
Yes.
Marmalia. Yeah.
It was amazing.
Great.
Do you have any, that was one of the earlier questions, Kevin, was what was your favorite class? You mentioned Garfield's class, but did you have a favorite class at Point Park?
Not necessarily. I just love dancing. Any class. I mean, Garfield's class, that's everyone's favorite. Everyone's, at least in my class or my generation. We loved Garfield's class. We also love Doug's class, but it's harder to have fun there. It's fun when you're like outside looking at hindsight, like, oh my God, that class was a trip. Like we had so much fun. Da, 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 da. But in the moment, probably Garfield's class.
Okay, well, do you all have any questions you want to ask each other? Well, we have several different attendees. They may chime in, but are there things you want to ask each other?
Does anyone have any projected shows coming up? This mic open? Like anything in the works?
Yes, here.
Yeah, nice, good.
I don't know if I signed or I don't know if it's like hush hush news or news that's already out there. So I'm just gonna not say what it is.
Well, good. At least we're rehearsing and doing something. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. Like there's only so much I had in me to rehearse for nothing. So I think rehearsing now for something is definitely bringing me back mentally and keeping me stable and sane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, you can go.
No, you go ahead.
I was just say it's crazy to rehearse for no show. It's like I've noticed how my dancing and how I learn is so different. And I don't know, it's just like without having that goal, like my mentality is completely switched, even though we're rehearsing basically like 3 different shows at once, just so we are ready when the time comes, because some things are possibly happening, but we still don't really know. But it's such a different way to dance. I don't know. It's been really strange for me, but yeah.
Yeah, we have been rehearsing, but we don't have any shows on the horizon as far as we know. I think we've had like some get planned, and obviously because of the pandemic, they could not happen. But rehearsing without a show, at least what we're doing is we are just making sure that like any show, any piece of rep is ready for when we can actually have a show. So our rehearsals, we are like bouncing around from so many different reps. And Roni has been around for, this is what, the 31st year? The 30th. He has a repertoire of work, and we are just every day going through each different show, each different piece, cleaning it together, making sure it looks good. So our brains, at least Paige and I right now, our brains are fuller, I think, of choreography than they ever have been in our entire life. But it's really cool because I'm like, wow, my brain can really handle this. I got this. And I can actually like deliver it. And it's kind of crazy because I think there were some pieces that we left pre-pandemic. So there were pieces that we hadn't done for a year and a half, and Roni's like, okay, rehearsal, we're going to do this piece. And we all are like, okay. And then
And it
works.
Well,
Everything clean,
kind of.
all know it. And it just really proves how amazing our brains are and how amazing muscle memory is, which is really cool. I never knew that those things were cool, but now I'm like, okay, I got this. Yeah.
Nice. We have a question from the fabulous Annie Morgan. She says, hello, my loves. What does your involvement in community outreach look like company to company?
I can go first. Gibney has a pretty intensive outreach model. First of all, Gibney itself has its own 20-year standing outreach where they go into surviving homes and do workshops and all these things. And we call them community action. And also the dancers are part of this. So we go into homes, or right now they're digital Zoom, just like community action things for survivors of I don't know the correct term that I want to use, for intimate partner violence. And then in the company, each of us artistic associates got a $5,000 grant from Bay and Paul Foundation to do a passion project. And depending on the passion project of each person, it reaches, depending on the person and the community they want to reach, we have the money to pour into that kind of outreach. So for example, my outreach is in the works, and it's going to be about climate change and fusing artistic purpose and excellence with sense of purpose. Another person has, okay, let's unpack this, which is outreach on huge mental health. Yeah, so Gibney has a pretty intensive outreach and a huge involvement in that, even where we have to lead our own passion project or be on the community outreach team.
Eisenhower has a huge community outreach as well. And actually with the education system, so we're with Detroit Public Schools, and we are currently right now, it's the strangest thing, but we're in 5 different school residencies right now. So for the next month, I'll say maybe like month and a half, we're in and out of Detroit Public Schools, really trying to give back to the community and give back to the schools and trying to re-inspire the arts into especially the middle schools. And then we got a huge NEA grant to do an anti-bullying and so we're taking our piece of rep that is about labels and about self-harm and stuff. And so we're taking that piece and trying to transform it and bringing it to the high schools and trying to show that it's okay to have these feelings, but to work with them and try to overcome those feelings and about bullying and everything. So we're trying to really immerse ourselves in the school. So right now, for like until I want to say mid-April or the end of April, we're in 5 different schools going in and out, teaching class, teaching them the importance of creativity and dance. And some are arts schools or arts high schools, but a lot of them are just your basic public schools. So that's really awesome to go in there and kind of show our creativity and try to help them discover theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for Koresh, Koresh has its own Koresh School of Dance, and there's the youth program, and there's also this adult program. They do a lot of outreach too throughout Philadelphia, but the company itself, we usually do the most outreach when we go on tour. Mm-hmm. And that's when we go teach different classes. Sometimes we go to middle school or elementary school, or I know before we even got there, they've been to a nursing home. We've been to a bunch of different places and just teach movement. And it's honestly just for them to experience what dance is like. And that's been really rewarding. That's like one of my favorite parts of touring, is teaching those different classes. And sometimes they're dancers, sometimes they don't even know what modern is, or even jazz is, or hip hop even, so it's always a very interesting experience, but I always feel like amazing after. But yeah. That's really it.
Yeah.
Like, this like lecture demonstration thing, and
I
see videos of it earlier, but like To us, it's so funny because like when would I ever do jazz like this? But to the kids, it means the world to them.
Yeah.
And to go and like they scream, they put their hands out for you to slap. Like, it's the cutest, funniest thing because you would never think that like that little of dance to you is that impactful to someone who is not in the arts and is not doing that every day of their life. So really realizing that like we are different people, we are different artists to your average day human. So I think that is just really eye-opening.
Yeah, that's awesome, Emmy. I like that.
I'll show you videos. It's so great.
We do do a similar thing too.
Also, yeah, piggybacking off Paige, we do a lot of the outreach, like she said, on tour. When things are happening in Philly, we will do one show and lecture demonstration first in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
I've gone to do in a while.
Yeah.
But we always put on a lecture demonstration because they have a Koresh Kids program where there's a hip hop teacher that goes into the schools and regularly teaches kids hip hop and kind of how to emote through movement when they don't really know how to emote. And then on tour, like Paige was saying, we really get a mixed bag when we go. We like our days are usually pretty full when we go on tour of teaching class, going to tech, dress rehearsal, show, all that. But the classes that we get, we've had special needs classes, which was really an amazing experience. We've had older people, we've had dancers, non-dancers. So it's pretty mixed, but it's kind of cool that we get to work with both the Philadelphia kids and also kids in every city that we go to, which is really nice.
That's great. Thank you, everybody. So we only have about 7 minutes. So I just had a question for you all, like just a few comments about like the future of dance. Like, where do you see dance going? Like, you all are like the generation, you're all dancing now, you're working, you're doing all this work. Like, what are some things you want to see for the field, like moving forward, especially coming out of this, you know, or still being in this, I should say, still being in this pandemic and all of the different issues that we're facing on so many fronts? Like, where do you see dance has possibility to make an impact in our world, and how can our field continue to evolve to be relevant, you know, to people and to make the type of impacts that you're talking about?
Okay, I guess I can take the mic here. Where do I see dance? This is kind of interesting because this is actually has to do with the outreach or the fellowship passion project that I want to do. Right now, you know, theater, dance, art has kind of been on the bottom of everything. You know, it's the last to come up, or it's the last to revitalize itself. But it's so interesting because with everybody, although theaters are closed, everybody is so creative. Everyone's still running those flexing those creative muscles. I really feel like we're going into like a new kind of contemporary renaissance after the pandemic, with so much work that's going to explode. And already now at the end of this pandemic stretch, there's already a lot of work happening, and it's very small. I think dance now needs to become relevant. I think choreographers, dancers, I feel like for dance to be relevant, we have to kind of step back and find our sense of purpose. How do we connect to the society that we live in? Are we connecting to the society that we live in? Are we contributing to the society that we live in? Are we voting for the society that we want? Are we creating art for the society that we live in? Or are we creating art for the imagined society that we want? You know, so it's like, it's asking those real, like purposeful questions, like the in-depth questions. You know, like, yes, like this company, that company, this choreographer. But with that, it's like, why? You know, like, let's figure out why we're doing this. Let's figure out how to be relevant. Let's figure out how we can make a footprint in the society that we are a part of. I also think dance is going to spread out instead of stay in like dance mecca cities. I think that's important. I think that's necessary, and I think it's already happening.
I also think because we have such easy access to virtual stuff, into Zoom, into working with whoever, whenever, because of the use of technology, I think anything is possible. And I feel like a lot of our audience in quarantine, especially like the heat of it last year when it all started, we realized, I mean, being stuck in our homes, we realized how to keep ourselves busy as normal humans with creativity and watching videos and watching TV and doing painting or reading. And I think a lot of people realized how important the arts are in their life and kept that when they did go back to work. So I think our audience is starting to understand how important art is. So I think they're just ready to get back into the theater. So I feel like when theaters open, we will have a larger audience than before, just because I think they finally realized how important the arts are to your life. And it's not just us.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, now more than ever, we're just, especially me, I'm so inspired to have like, even just like this platform, this art form that like I can express whatever I need to. And there's so many important things that we need to say and show the world that maybe some other people don't know how to. And I think it's really important that we need to start doing that, even though it is happening right now, but to do it even more. And I don't know, I hope this whole year just really inspires everyone to start doing that. Like, I know it inspired me to have a more meaningful look on dance and like what I can portray and like how I feel towards it and how I can teach other people to feel towards it and stuff like that. So I don't know, I'm feeling very inspired and I don't know, excited. I think it's going to be good. I have a good feeling about where it's going. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everybody. I really feel like once things take a turn and this pandemic is a little bit more behind us, I think everyone being locked in their house and not being able to go out on a Friday night and go see a show and go get dinner and dress up and see and experience something completely different. I think once the pandemic is behind us, I really feel like people are going to be running out of their houses with their little heels, get dinner, go to the theater and watch. I really feel like people are ready for it. And I think the virtual actually really helped. I feel like each company reach a different audience than we had before, which is really amazing. And now I think for a lot of dance companies, we're on other people's radars and not maybe just our communities or like the places we go and tour. I really feel like it's a more well-rounded thing. So I think people are ready. I'm ready too.
Ready?
Yeah, I think I want to add just one more thing. I think like moving forward into however like America moves out of the pandemic, I think one thing to really remember and stay true to is all the things that we learned in COVID, kind of just the appreciation of everything, the like global compassion and like global trauma of everything, like how we all kind of slowed down and like realized what we appreciated and things that we like respected and like cared for, to like watch out, you know, like once routine starts coming in, it's like to really hold on to those truths that like really held us through quarantine. I think that's what's important. I think that's like a alert, like, we hold on to that, like don't forget it, like don't go back into your like whatever we were, because that's not what it is. It's different.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, that's our end. That's beautiful. That's like a beautiful reminder, I think, for everyone. So I really appreciated spending this time with you all, and thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great rest
Thank
of your
you.
day. Hope to see you.
So nice seeing you guys.
Miss you guys.
Miss you so much.